Wonderful good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are today in our studios in Munich Commodity TV, and it's a big pleasure and honor. I have here with me Endeavour Silver, the 8th largest actually primary silver producer in the world. And we have here the founder and CEO, Bradford Cooke. Bradford, thanks for taking the time.
Well, thank you for inviting me on.
Definitely. Endeavour Silver, I think we mustn't talk briefly about the company. Everybody knows you. You have a lot of German and Swiss shareholders also. I think let's go directly into the company. You just said you just showed 9 months results.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a bit on that, please?
Yes, indeed. We brought our 9-month financials in the last weeks. We had another strong quarter of production. Our costs per ton are coming down once again. Typically each year we have our sustaining cost peaking in the Q2 and the Q3. So the costs typically look higher in those quarters. Q1 and Q4 typically are lower cost quarters for us. So we're enjoying a very strong quarter here in Q4.
Great. Let's go a bit more into detail. I mean, Guanaceví and Bolañitos, they are fantastic mines, of course. You bought El Cubo 2.5 years ago. What was in El Cubo, as I saw in your presentation, the third quarter, still the all-in cost were at $45 and a half, I think. Can you elaborate a bit why it was that high, the all-in sustaining costs, and why it will go, hopefully, down in the next quarters?
Yeah, by all means. Guanaceví and Bolañitos, these are lower cost mines and they do generate a lot of free cash flow. El Cubo being our newest mine, we acquired it in 2012 with the idea to invest for 2 years. We called it our 2-year turnaround program. And we're now at the tail end of that. This quarter actually is the last quarter of that turnaround program. In that turnaround program, we had to play catch up because for 5 years under the previous owner, El Cubo had no investment. None in exploration, very little in mine development. And when we talk about all-in sustaining costs, we're not just talking about the cost of operating the mine, we're also talking about the costs of sustaining the mine, which means exploration and mine development. So Endeavour these last few years has been investing at a much higher rate in El Cubo to play catch-up from the 5 years of no investment. And that's why the all-in sustaining costs in Q3, for instance, looked very high. It's because we are deliberately investing to find more ore and develop that ore for future production so that at the end of this quarter and in future years, we can go to a more normal sustaining cost level, which will be profitable.
So can you give our viewers an idea? Now we talk about $45 and we know the silver price this morning was $16.35, so that's a big discrepancy. Where do you think you can bring the costs in the next quarters?
Sure. In 2 of the last 4 quarters, El Cubo has actually been a profitable mine with cash costs in the $6 to $7 range and all-in costs in the $15 to $18 range. We feel Q4 will be back in those ranges, but over the longer term, starting next year, El Cubo should be a profitable mine at $16. Our goal, obviously, is to run the company at any metal price, and since the metal prices currently are very low, we're running our company to make money at these prices.
Yeah, I think that's really important because you want to survive the downtrend.
Absolutely.
Well, you will do definitely because you have nearly $30 million cash and you have short-term debt of $27 million.
We also have 10 million of silver inventory.
Exactly, so that helps also a lot, I would say.
Yes.
Because I'm quite sure that silver prices will go up again. Let's talk a little bit more about the future. And I think you want to develop a fourth mine at San Sebastian. Of course, you have also a lot of exploration potential in the whole area, as I think you have 5 to 8 exploration targets, I would call it, and you are very successful already. So give us a bit an insight into San Sebastian. What is the game plan now for the next, let's say, 1 to 2 years?
Well, we acquired San Sebastian as an exploration project in a historic district in 2010. We bought it outright in 2013 for a total purchase price of $2.75 million. We've invested approximately $10 million in 2011, 12, 13 in exploration, primarily to discover a new ore body, which we call Terronera. And this Terronera ore body at San Sebastian, as of last year, had approximately 41 million ounces of total resource, silver equivalent resource. And our goal, short term, is to move that project from the exploration stage to the development stage and then to production.
I think you have a permit already, right?
We actually just in the last few weeks received our mine development permit to build a mine at San Sebastian. And so now we can say finally that San Sebastian does indeed look like mine number 4.
Oh, wow, lovely. how do you want to finance that? Because to develop a mine, that would cost money, obviously. What is your plan for the investment? What could it cost, and how do you want to structure that? Can you make it out of the cash flow, or how do you do that?
It's early yet. We haven't actually brought forward our proposed mine development plan publicly, but by mid-year of next year, we will do that. I can tell you conceptually what we're planning is a two-phase mine development starting next year, where the first phase may be approximately $50 million plus or minus. And what that would do is to build a high-grade mine with immediate expansion possibilities. The second phase, which we can go to very quickly right after the commencement of the first phase, would allow us to go up to something close to 3 million ounces of silver production per year and maybe 20,000 ounces of gold, call it 4.5 million ounces of silver equivalent production. That would be our vision for the project. And we may not start with that size, but that's where we're headed on San Sebastian. Timing, if we go to the board next year and the board does approve a production decision, then clearly we would be breaking ground next year for commercial production in 2016.
Wow, that's quite fast. That's
It's
1.5 years
Very
roughly
fast.
from here. Oh, that's fantastic. And I think this changes the whole production profile of the company, of course, because I think your guidance for this year was 10.4 to 11 million ounces silver. If you can add something like 3-4 million ounces, that's dramatically.
Yes. Obviously, we're still a growth company. San Sebastian represents the next phase of our growth. And because it's a two-phase project, there's going to be two phases of growth with regard to the development of San Sebastian. 2016, 2017 look like very good years for us.
Lovely, lovely. I like that. So maybe your shareholders can expect a little dividend afterwards then, when you are successfully?
Clearly, we always consider a dividend policy, and we need to have a certain critical mass of cash and cash flow to justify. Once you start a dividend, you don't want to stop. We are still a growth company, so we have been reinvesting our shareholders' money, principally in San Sebastian these last 2 years, and for the next 2 years. And then I think it might be time.
Fantastic. I think your shareholders will love to hear that, and especially long-term shareholders, as I am one of those. But can you give us, as a last question, some thoughts on the meltdown on the silver market? Because you are a producer, you must have your view, your opinion on the market. And I think it's very interesting for our viewers, to get an opinion from somebody who is really in the hotspot of the war.
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't need to run a mining company.
That's
I would
right.
just make money.
Just your thoughts.
But my thoughts on the precious metals are that we are very close to the bottom now of this 3.5-year correction. That it's all about the US dollar in recent years, not just gold and silver, but all of the commodities, oil and gas too. The strength of the dollar is hard to beat. Anything traded in dollars then suffers in its price, including gold and silver. My feeling, we are going to see in the next months a top to the US dollar in terms of its relative strength to other currencies, and that means a bottom for the prices of gold and silver. We'll come off of that bottom, possibly quickly, possibly slowly, but the knowledge that we are in a cyclic business and that we're approaching the bottom of the cycle, if we can make money at this part of the cycle, we can make money anytime, anywhere.
Absolutely. Great. Fantastic. Bradford, thank you very much for that. And wish you all the best, and we look forward when you develop your fourth mine.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jochen.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bradford Cooke, the founder and CEO of Endeavour Silver. Well, you heard it. San Sebastian is definitely in the play. It's hopefully coming. The board should make the decision quite soon next year. And then we talk about, production profile of 14 to 15 million ounces of silver a year. So Endeavour really will move up in the ranks of the senior primary silver producers in the world. And also, I think $50 million as a first phase to invest is quite a reasonable amount of money. It's not that much. The second phase, 25 million, that's also makeable. The company is making cash flow, the company is making money and bringing down the costs, so looks for a bright future. And what we love to hear for the shareholders, they are considering in the future to pay dividends. That's it from Munich. Check out the company. Thanks. Bye-bye.